G'day everyone, Jason Foss here from the Capricornia Chamber of Commerce. Here with Phil Henry at the front of Hummingbird. Forgot where I was for a minute. It's the 27th today, Wednesday the 27th. So that gives us some context in case I don't know when you're going to be watching this. Phil, you've been a busy young lad, I hear.
I don't know about this young bit, Jason, but I have a new sort of calling in life as I'm a professional meeting attender.
It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it, hey?
Someone has to do it. But one of the ones that I am a member of is the Regional Jobs Committee, and it's getting on with its work, having been established earlier this year. One of the things we're looking at is support for small business, and particularly in relation to working with chambers of commerce. Mm-hmm. The Regional Jobs Committee covers the 6 local government areas of the Fitzroy, but one of the issues that we know is of prime concern to small business is the raft of industrial relations legislation.
There's been a bunch of changes to that recently.
Sure has. There's been stuff that's come out and stuff that's still in the works there down in Canberra. Mm-hmm. So we identified we need to do something about that and get some information out to small business, so we have started to organise that. As I say, the Regional Jobs Committee is the 6 local government areas of the Fitzroy. So the first one we're doing in Gladstone just before Christmas, but we'll be doing one in Rockhampton early in the new year.
And you have a good speaker lined up for that one too.
We do. Jonathan Mammarell, who's now with South Gildard, the lawyers. So
yes.
Jonathan actually comes up to this part of the world fairly regularly now as part of his work. But our viewers, our listeners, they're doing both. They're viewing and listening at the same time.
Everybody's the podcast or the video. Yep.
Everybody's multitasking. We had Jonathan a couple of years ago talking about industrial relations in the context of the COVID restrictions.
Yes. And that was a cocoa brew, wasn't it? That one, yeah.
It was indeed. Yep. But that was getting down to the actual nitty-gritty of what the legislation said, rather than what people thought it might have said, mm-hmm. And setting people straight on that. And he's an excellent speaker and a very good meeting facilitator. So we'll be happy to get Jonathan back as soon as we can organise the date.
Looking forward to that, yeah.
So that's really one just to sort of stick at the back of your minds until we get the information out to you from the Regional Jobs Committee, but early in the new year.
Yeah, so watch this space. You think sort of late January, early February is sort of the aim at the moment, depending on when we can line things up.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, Jonathan did present before previously, a really good speaker. Don't miss that session when that's coming up, that should be a really good one.
Indeed.
And another one, Phil, as our professional meeting attender, is the Central Queensland Industry Collaborative. You spent a bit of time on that over the last few years?
Yeah, that's right. Peter Lynch, who many of you might know, started that one up, and there's been a few of our major industrialists around town as part of that. Mm-hmm. It had 2 major objectives, one of which is to get more work for local companies on major infrastructure projects. And the other one was to ensure that we've got a pipeline of major infrastructure projects coming, because one of the guys did some analysis, a bloke called Marcus Lang did some analysis, which basically showed that there are no major publicly funded projects on the books after the ring road finishes in about another 5 years or so. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's what we were looking at. Now, that wasn't an incorporated group, we were just a bunch of
Rag tags and misfits?
Rag tags and misfits, I've got to be careful about that. Some of them are bigger and stronger than me.
Right, okay.
But just a non-incorporated group that got together because we'd identified these things that needed to be done around the place. So look, as a non-incorporated group, and everybody's got very busy schedules and other commitments, it's kind of wound up. I mean, it still kind of exists, but we're not doing any work actively. But the Chamber, under your leadership there, Jason, has kindly offered, or been thrust upon you, that we'll take on that work, particularly in relation to future infrastructure projects.
Okay, between you and me, I'm delegating that to Phil, just quietly too. Thank you, Phil. So yeah,
no load too great to bear.
So it's not, although I guess the impetus or the steam has gone out of the last couple of months, it's not dead. We'll just take over that, the role that it was performing anyway.
Exactly right, because we've done quite a lot of work. We ran a couple of meetings of industry and business people from around town, and workshopped a list of possible projects. about 50 on that list. If we'd have gone on for longer, we would have had more. But really, top of the list there was dual carriageway for the Bruce between Rockhampton and Gladstone.
Yes.
And this was before the recent spate of terrible accidents that have taken so many lives. This was originally as an economic development issue because both of those two centres are growing very quickly and they have complementary kind of business bases or business environments.
Yep.
So we will continue that advocacy, but certainly top of the list is that dual carriageway.
Because that road's getting busier, not quieter.
No, exactly right.
Yeah, no, that needs to be done. So coming up, we've got the Business Excellence Awards dinner on Friday night down at the Kepp Bay Sailing Club. That is fully sold though, so if you don't have your tickets, you've missed out, which is a bit of a shame, but that should be a good night. And after that, on the 13th of December, I think it is, we've got the Chamber's CQIC function. So that will be at the Goat. I believe it's on the 13th, and you need to come prepared, Phil.
Indeed. Tanya...
She should have been here so that she could fill us in. So how about you just read the note that she's put?
She talked to former councillor Rose Swadling. Rose is working with an organisation, excuse me for reading this, called Lotus Place. They receive no government funding and they work with children and adults with a legacy of trauma and institutional setting abuse. So what we're asking people is to fill a basket. So in other words, household goods, probably some toys for kids and stuff like that.
Yep.
Bring a bag along, it all goes in together and it's going to go to Lotus Place.
Yeah, so that's a worthwhile cause. So bring some stuff along, whether it be toys for kids or some household items, non-perishable
and non-perishable stuff for the kitchen, certainly. So yes.
So that should be a good night.
Yeah.
If you bring something on that for us to throw into the hamper, the basket,
that'll be good.
Now details will be on the website by the time you're watching this video. So make sure you register there, and we'll see you there on the 13th. I think that's about all we need to,
that's about
to run
all,
through
I
today.
think. So on that note, it's probably goodbye from you.
Okay, now he's really confused me because it's goodbye from me. I'm overthinking this now.
It's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from me.
That's right.
That makes more sense.
That's three.
We'll get there eventually. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.